Today, we're making a wonderfully creamy, rich yet vibrant curry, inspired by the Peruvian comfort food, Aji de Gallina. The whole dish is extremely simple and it cooks in less than 30 minutes. So, let's do it. Just like the actual Aji de Gallina, we first blanch the chicken to cook them and to make a quick stock. We discovered this dish while we were doing research for ceviche and immediately fell in love and cooked it multiple times. And it's a wonderful, wonderful recipe. Sometimes I find it almost a bit too comforting. And today we're going to incorporate some curry techniques to spice it up a bit. So bear in mind that we just need enough stock to form the sauce. I would add just enough water to cover the chicken to minimize dilution of flavors and to get a thicker consistency. We bring this to a boil, and because we're going to add Parmesan cheese to the sauce, I thought we'd take a page from the Italian minestrone recipes, not wasting the rind of the Parmesan, and we add it to the cooking liquid of the chicken. This, of course, is full of glutamic acid, nature's MSG, giving our cooking liquid a ton of umami. And now, we make our curry paste. Traditionally in Aji de Gallina, you would soak bread with milk, add walnuts, blitz them to form a sauce, which is why it's so comforting. But if you want a bit more of a kick and an umph, and for it to be less heavy, instead of blitzing them, we will use the walnut to form the base of our curry paste. So, very simple. We add a ton of walnuts and we go. This way, when we do cook out the curry paste, we will end up toasting the ground walnuts in our oil, evaporating their water content and concentrating their flavors, giving us a bit more of this toasty, nutty taste in the final product. And with this, we can also avoid having to use a blender. From experience of making this dish, what the blending does is it actually tames that wonderful, wonderful yellow flavor of the ají amarillo chili. And that's why you see modern recipes, they add cumin to the dish, mainly for the color. But with this method, we can skip the cumin. Once you have a fine consistency, we introduce the wet ingredients. Normally I would use an onion for this, but I ran out, so a shallot would do. And just like most curry paste recipes, the more you do here, the less you do there, so up to you. Perfect. Once this is boiling, lid on, medium heat, and we let it simmer for 20 minutes. And we go. By the way, traditionally, you would use hen for this, which kind of explains the shredding. But for the modern day home kitchen, chicken thigh is your best bet because they're the most forgiving. And with the 20-minute cook, you have time to break down the connective tissues into very yummy collagen, making it juicy and slightly thickening the cooking liquid. Yeah, this makes you cry a bit. By the way, if you want this to be even punchier, toast the walnuts before this and you'll get an even deeper, nuttier flavor. All right. Oh, after a bit of crying, we add some garlic. Again, the more you do here, the less you do there. So if you don't mind washing a garlic crusher, now is the time to use it. Perfect. And we continue. We season with a generous amount of salt. This will also give us more friction to really pound this into my version of Peruvian curry paste. All right, once you have a proper paste-like texture, a bit of chunks here and there, it's okay. We introduce the true hero of the show, the ají amarillo chilies. Of course, if you live in a jurisdiction where you could buy fresh ones, great. But if not, in most countries nowadays, you could buy jars of them online and they are wonderful. Let me just simmer the chicken here. So, we merge the two in harmony. For those of you who's not had this before, they are mild-ish with this wonderful fruity brightness. I'm a huge fan, so we're gonna add quite a bit. But if you're making it for the first time, taste. You can always add more later on. Mix. Brilliant. Now, let's make some curry. So, the primary reason why I want to turn this dish into a curry, besides the clickbaiting, is that I find the bread soaked in milk to be on the heavy side. Of course, for comfort food, that's incredible. But when I crave something that has a bit more of a punch, I would like to avoid that. Which got me thinking, when I cook Thai curries using coconut milk, I kept saying, this makes the curry Rich, creamy, but not heavy. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're simply gonna add some coconut cream, thick coconut milk, and we're gonna introduce some temperature to try to split the fat from the solids. This would give us the cooking oil for the dish, in this case the coconut oil, evaporate the water content from the solids, cooking that in the process, giving us deeper flavors and a creamier texture. If you've ever made a roux before, the process is very similar. And just like a roux, I find the most fail-proof method to not burn the bottom is to use a whisk. So we go. And you do it at a pace that you're comfortable with. So if you're making this for the first time, do it at medium heat. Take your time. And always try to add a thick layer to cover the pot and have a bit more on the side in case it starts to burn. I have something to deglass the pan without diluting flavors. Chicken looking good. So once you can feel a bit of resistance, that's when you know you're ready for the curry paste, or whatever paste this is. Perfect. Now we mix everything together. This process, the end goals are not dissimilar to a stew in the Western kitchen because we are evaporating the water content of the aromatic vegetables to concentrate their flavors. But the vegetables have been pounded into a paste, making the evaporation much faster, the flavor extraction much stronger in a shorter period of time. And now you can see the coconut oil from the coconut cream has been separated and it's now cooking our paste. And between the shallot and the garlic and the ají amarillo paste, there is quite a lot of liquid to be cooked out, demonstrated by the amount of steam coming up. And you want to evaporate most of that liquid to really concentrate the flavors. I went really easy on the salt because the chili paste is salty and we're gonna add a ton of parmesan, which is also salty. Now the coconut oil has taken on this wonderful, wonderful yellow color. No need for cumin. Now we're gonna switch to the spatula. Once there's not much evaporation going on and our flavorsome oil is starting to slowly fry our wonderful curry paste, it's time to introduce the cooking liquid. Beautiful. And just like how you would treat a roux, we do it bit by bit. And the beauty of the paste is this is our sauce ready, and you can dilute it or reduce it to the consistency you desire. And we simply leave it to simmer here while we shred the chicken. Now, you can shred it however you like. When it's really hot, I like to use a pair of forks, and you just go. Most recipes call for a skinless dish. It's a personal preference, up to you. Sometimes I like it on. Today we can remove it. Now, once everything is shredded to your liking, by the way, this is a wonderful, wonderful way to deal with leftover poultry. We add this to our wonderful sauce. Everything together. And now you have a better gauge in terms of how much you want to dilute or reduce. In this case, actually looks pretty good. If you really wanted to blitz the sauce before adding this, you can, but just bear in mind the fact that if you do that, you will get a much paler color. So adjust accordingly if aesthetic is part of your consideration. Brilliant. Now, once everything is mixed together and the dish is warm, we switch off the stove and we add the parmesan. So rich in umami. And we adjust the seasoning afterwards, factoring in this would bring a lot of salinity to the dish. And you make it as creamy as you like. No need for bread, no need for milk. Well, coconut milk. Brilliant. Fold everything in to emulsify. Taste. Perfect. Now we can plate. Look at how creamy this is without a blender. Wow, it's wonderful. Garnish, keeping with tradition, black olives to give a bit of brightness. Normally you serve it with hard-boiled egg, but for me, if you have to serve something hard-boiled, I prefer quail. And that's it. Rich, creamy, bright, and vibrant. This is my Aji de Gallina inspired curry. I really, really hope you enjoy.